Okay, so today I'll be explaining you, or today we will have a discussion, a lecture on the infrastructure as a service concept, because I don't want to start with next experiment. Um, all right. So yesterday we created a virtual machine, or we created one instance. Okay. So now we will try to understand that what exactly happened and how the things work. Okay. Um, yeah. All right. So when we talk about infrastructure as a service, or when we talk about a cloud platform in general, so when we had discussed with the first unit, what is cloud computing, what are the different services, etc. So that time we saw that mainly there are three services, and all those three services we are going to see one by one as a practical execution. Okay. So yesterday we used the compute service in AWS. So basically, compute falls under, or compute gives us infrastructure. All right. And see what happens is in Google Meet now, every time I have to go back to the screen and admit people. It is not like Zoom. So आप लोग जो ऐसे किसी भी टाइम लॉग इन करते हो ना, that disturb. Anyways, so here we have used infrastructure as a service, and infrastructure as a service, if we have to talk about AWS, so it is present under the compute option. So compute option ke under, if you will see, there are multiple choices which were there, right? uh, from all those choices we took EC2. So EC2 is your elastic cloud compute. Okay, so the full form of EC2 is elastic cloud compute. So this EC2 part is basically your IaaS, okay, which we did yesterday. Now when we talk about infrastructure, so what exactly, like how will you understand that particular concept? So imagine like you people are going to take some apartment or some place on रेंट. ठीक है, आप सपोज आपका कैंपस प्लेसमेंट हो गया, आप आउटसाइड बॉम्बे चले गए, आपको वहां पे रहने के लिए तो आप पीजी ले सकते हो, यू कैन स्टे एज अ पेइंग गेस्ट, यू कैन स्टे ऑन अ शेयरिंग बेसिस. ओके, और अदरवाइज अगर आपके पास बहुत अच्छा पैकेज है तो आप पूरा एक घर अपने रेंट पे ले सकते हो, राइट? नाउ द वे यू आर रेंटिंग द अपार्टमेंट, सो नाउ यू मस्ट बी अवेयर दैट जब हम लोग कोई घर रेंट करते हैं तो इट इज लाइक अनफर्निश्ड और फर्निश्ड. There are two options, unfurnished or furnished. So IaaS is something similar to the unfurnished apartment what we rent. Okay, because when we are taking unfurnished apartment on rent basis, तो हमें क्या provide किया जाता है? We are only provided with a blank setup. Okay, so suppose 1 BHK है या 2 BHK है या whatever, depending on that उतनी rooms हमें provide की जाती है. Right, we are not provided with anything apart from the room, so we get an empty location जहाँ पर जाके we can set up our own, like as per our own budget, as per our own idea, and as per our own taste. We can choose the furniture, we can choose the wall colors if we want. अगर हमें कुछ और modifications करने हैं तो we can do that, right? So we have that freedom because we are only paying for the apartment which is not having any other component inside that or commodity inside it. So that exactly what infrastructure as a service is. So yesterday when we set up a Windows machine and when we had set up a Linux machine, you must have observed कि हमने सिर्फ वो एक machine को setup किया. जब हमने, like when I showed you, when we opened the Windows machine, we saw that there were no softwares which were provided. जो बेसिक AWS रिलेटेड कनेक्टिविटी वाली चीजें थी सिर्फ उतना प्रेजेंट था. एक आपका एक्सप्लोरर प्रेजेंट था वहां पे, ओके, इंटरनेट एक्सप्लोरर. Apart from that nothing else was given, okay, because you have not demanded anything. It was only, you only wanted the infrastructure. Now depending on what exactly you are required to do. Okay, अगर मुझे मेरा विंडोज मशीन, हो सकता है कि मैं कोई ग्राफिक डिजाइनर हूँ, ठीक है, मेरे को विंडोज मशीन यूज करना है फॉर ग्राफिक पर्पस, देन आई विल इंस्टॉल ऑल द नेसेसरी कंपोनेंट्स रिलेटेड टू ग्राफिक्स. अगर कोई और बंदा है उसको किसी गेमिंग के ऊपर कुछ काम करना है तो जो भी गेमिंग रिलेटेड सॉफ्टवेयर रहेंगे या वट, all those services the person can install in that particular infrastructure. Okay, so it is something similar to renting one unfurnished apartment where you only pay for that particular rooms, okay, or that particular क्या कहते हैं उसे अपार्टमेंट, ओके, एंड देन डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर बजट, अगर मेरे को फर्नीचर चाहिए तो मैं लूंगी, मुझे नहीं चाहिए तो मैं नीचे गद्दा बिछा के सो जाऊंगी, समथिंग लाइक दैट. इफ आई वांट, I will only use my server for the internet purpose. If I don't want any other softwares to be installed, so it is something like that. Okay, so that is what is infrastructure as a service. And so if in case you remember, मैंने आपको जो first PPT दिखाया था, okay, if you will see, 1 minute. So there was a picture what I had shown you, which was helping us to differentiate between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So I'll quickly show you that picture again. Yeah, 1 minute. So if you remember this particular picture I had shown you, now look at the infrastructure as a service. Now you'll be able to maybe relate in a better way. So what are we managing? Okay, we are managing the application. Okay, हमको क्या क्या service मिला? So we took virtualization. Okay, virtualization, server, storage and networking. तो ये चार चीजें we have used from the EC2 machine, या फिर जो EC2 instance हमने कल launch किया था. So what exactly we got from AWS? The orange part. Okay, so if you will observe the IaaS column, जो second column है infrastructure as a service का, now please try to relate what exactly happened in yesterday's experiment. हमने एक VM create किया, so basically यहाँ पे VM को ना AWS के language में AMI कहते हैं, Amazon Machine Instance. Okay, so that is I mean जो हम लोग VM in general बोलते हैं for VirtualBox and VMware, तो यहाँ पर AMI कहते हैं, and AMI के multiple instances होते हैं. Okay, so try to understand the terminology also, because you people have that AWS tie up with college, and all these companies will start visiting your campus for placement. So if you're acquainted with all these terminology, so that you might have a upper hand during the placements and all. So what is AMI? AMI is similar to virtual machine. So AMI is exactly virtual machine. ठीक है, और instance क्या है? जैसे so if you remember, जब हम लोग कल launch instance पे गए थे, right? So you must have seen multiple ऑलरेडी सेटअप मशीन, जैसे वहां पे लिनक्स का ऑप्शन था. अब लिनक्स में भी दो चॉइसेस थी. ओके, उबुंटू में 18.04 का चॉइस था, उबुंटू में लेसर वर्जन का भी चॉइस था. विंडोज में भी विंडोज 10 था, विंडोज 7 था, राइट. डेबियन का भी मल्टीपल चॉइसेस था. तो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैज AWS मेड रेडी फॉर यू? सो ऑल दोस VMs जो हमने वर्चुअल बॉक्स में पूरा स्टेप फॉलो किया था ना, डाउनलोडिंग द ISO, selecting the ISO file, then choosing whatever CPUs and RAM. So everything is already ready on the cloud platform of AWS. आपको क्या करना है? आपको सिर्फ डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर नीड वो चीज को चूज करना है और उसको लॉन्च करना है. तो जो भी बाकी का बैक एंड प्रोसेस है, you do not have to take headache of that, because that is already done by the AWS for its customer. ठीक है. उसके बाद किया, तो जो हम लोग लॉन्च इंस्टेंस करते हैं ना, सो दैट इज बेसिकली यू आर क्रिएटिंग अ कॉपी ऑफ दैट VM और कॉपी ऑफ दैट AMI. ठीक है. So how many instances can I launch? You can launch as many instances as you want. फ्री वर्जन में थोड़ा रेस्ट्रिक्शन रहता है, आई थिंक 7 or 8 इंस्टेंसेस ओनली यू कैन लॉन्च. बट अगर सपोज यू आर पेइंग, you're a paid member of AWS, then there is no restriction. Okay, then you can launch as many instances of the same AMI as you want. अगर मेरे को multiple setup चाहिए, okay, Linux machines का, मेरे को कुछ एक network बनाना है, I want to connect all the machines with one another, then I can start creating multiple instances of the same version of Linux. Okay, or something like that. So what exactly happened yesterday in yesterday's class? We did the virtualization. That means हमने instance create किया. तो द सर्वर, ओके, जहां पर वो अप हुआ था या फिर जब जहां जो हमें डोमेन मिला था, दैट वाज डन ऑटोमेटिक, right? That was done automatic. So server was provided by AWS to us as a customer. Then the storage मतलब if you remember, हमने एक storage disk setup किया था 30 GB का. Then also we had chosen how many virtual CPUs we want, then how many what kind of RAM should be there. Okay, so हमने one vCPU और एक 1 GB RAM use किया था, because that is what is available in the free tier. Otherwise, if you're a paid member, then the more kind of higher version you choose, आपको उतना high payment करना पड़ेगा. Anyway, so storage was given, and networking as in how the things are connected with each other. So all those underlying things were provided to you. And the blue color thing, okay, applications, data, then runtime environment, then the middleware and OS. So OS we chose. Okay, जब हम launch instance पे गए, हमारे पास options था Linux, Ubuntu, Windows, Debian, then whatever, right? तो उसमें से हमने choose किया हमें कौन सा OS चाहिए. So we launched 2 instances, एक Windows and एक Linux. So OS is what we choose, right? Then what application we want to run on that will be our choice. What data I have to set up on that will be my choice. Okay, then what runtime environment? Suppose I am doing some प्रोजेक्ट जिसके लिए मुझे कोई एक स्पेसिफिक कंपाइलर चाहिए, तो आई एम सेटिंग अप दैट स्पेसिफिक एनवायरनमेंट. So that is what your runtime environment is. Then the middlewares which will be required for that project execution. So the blue color part is your responsibility. The orange colored part is the cloud platform responsibility. So in IaaS, or in the infrastructure as a service, we are provided with the VM, we are provided with the servers, okay, we are provided with the storage, okay, and the networking, and rest all the things. Then it will be your responsibility to understand that how to use that रेंटेड अपार्टमेंट. आपको क्या करना है वहां पे? आपको वहां पे बिजनेस सेटअप करना है, आपको वहां पे पर्सनल यूज के लिए चाहिए, आपको वहां पे जिम ओपन करना है, वट एवर इट इज, राइट? सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन दैट यू विल पुट योर डेटा एंड यू विल स्टार्ट यूजिंग दैट एज पर द एप्लीकेशन व्हाट यू रिक्वायर टू set up. Okay, so that is the concept of IaaS. So this particular diagram or this particular picture I'll be showing you every time when we are doing some service, so that we understand कि exactly orange color क्या कर रहा है and blue color क्या कर रहा है. Okay, so I hope the infrastructure as a service का column is clear to everybody. Okay, then okay, so after that, okay, so now this is where EC2 came into picture, because we were concerned with the infrastructure as a service. So as you saw, in infrastructure, what all things are provided. So basically, now we will see that we will break these. We will break this particular word. So I stands for infrastructure, right? So what all things are provided to us? The very first thing is your processor. ठीक है, तो processor के अंदर क्या क्या आ सकता है? So suppose I draw a diagram for this. So the compute thing is available. Then you have GPUs which are available on the platform, and you also have HPCs, that is the high performance computation, that is also available. Now this particular part falls under the processor. Okay, now depending on what application you are going to make, अगर मेरे पास बहुत general purpose application है, मुझे कोई एक छोटा सा एक सॉफ्टवेयर बनाना है या फिर एक कोई सिंपल सी एप्लीकेशन बनानी है, so in that case I will be going for compute. So this is for your basic general purpose use. Okay, जहाँ पर कोई ज्यादा computation नहीं है, like basic traffic आने वाली है and all that. And GPU stands for, what is the full form of GPU? Anybody knows? GPU क्या होता है? What is the difference between GPU and general purpose CPU?
मैम
Any
जीपीयू
idea?
में मैम जीपीयू में कुछ ग्राफिकल कुछ अगर रिप्रेजेंटेशन रहता है मतलब सो वो प्रोसेस
हाँ,
करने के
so
लिए।
these days, yeah, correct. So these days, no, for the project purpose, I mean, जो आप B के projects करोगे या whatever, so GPUs are becoming very popular. Okay, and जो Google App Engine है, जो मैं हमेशा mention कर रही हूँ, so Google App Engine is famous for providing high-end GPUs for applications or for the क्या कहते हैं इसको processors or the compilation, right? Now GPUs basically कहाँ पर यूज होते हैं, जहाँ पर आपके हाई लेवल ग्राफिक्स यूज हो रहे हैं, जैसे गेमिंग, अगर आपको कोई प्रोजेक्ट, अगर आप कोई यूनिटी में कोई प्रोजेक्ट बनाने वाले हो, ठीक है, बी में, so instead of putting all the things, or instead of having a normal CPU, आप क्या करोगे, you will be going for GPU because यहाँ पर parallel processing यूज होने वाली है. ओके, एंड जीपीयू जो हम लोग गूगल ऐप इंजन में यूज करते हैं, सो अंडरलाइन जो पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग वाला कॉन्सेप्ट है, दैट इज ऑलरेडी टेकन केयर बिकॉज यू आर यूजिंग जीपीयू एंड नॉट अ सिंपल सीपीयू. ठीक है, so parallel processing क्यों beneficial है, because obviously that is going to give you a better result and a faster result, right? So this is a GPU. So generally this is used for applications which are AI based, or which are something ML based, या something जहाँ पर आपके visuals use होने वाले हैं. Okay, so something which is related to Unity. I hope you all are aware of Unity. Unity is a software which is required, or which is used for the graphical projects or something like that. Okay. Okay, so this is GPU, and then you have high performance computing. तो HPCs ये भी काफी स्पेसिफिक होते हैं. अगर सपोज जैसे मैंने एग्जांपल दिया था, अगर आप क्वांटम के ऊपर कुछ काम करने वाले हो, या फिर इफ यू हैव लॉट मेनी आपके पास बहुत सारा डेटा है जो प्रोसेस होने वाला है, विच इज गोइंग टू रिक्वायर हाई परफॉर्मेंस, या फिर काफी उसमें ज्यादा परफॉर्मेंस की जरूरत है, इन दैट सिचुएशन यू विल बी गोइंग फॉर HPC. So yesterday when we launched the machine, we were not concerned about GPU and HPC because हम लोग सिर्फ practical purpose के लिए we were seeing. So we had actually chosen the compute, that is a normal CPU हमने choose करा था. These two things, GPU and HPC, are very specific. Okay, you should know that what exactly is going to happen in that particular infrastructure. उस server पे exactly कितना computation level use होने वाला है, या फिर apply होने वाला है, depending on that you will be using GPU and HPC. These two things are paid. ये free tier पे obviously available नहीं है, ठीक है. So these two things are paid, and these are very specific. So this is the first part, what infrastructure takes care of, which is the processor. Okay, processor is provided to you. Then second comes into picture the storage part. Okay, जो हमने फोटो में देखा storage भी था, तो storage again is divided into multiple uh, so one is your, the storage can be object wise, then the storage can be block wise, and storage can be file wise. आपका file system use हो सकता है, आपका object system use हो सकता है, आपका block system use हो सकता है. So this is your storage. Again, storage is divided into multiple options. Object is again very general. Okay, अगर आपको सिर्फ आपकी फोटोज अपलोड करती है, जैसे ड्रॉपबॉक्स में होता है. So ड्रॉपबॉक्स में कोई प्रोसेसिंग नहीं हो रही है, ठीक है. आपने एक अकाउंट बनाया और आप फ्लिकर पे या टम्बलर पे आप सिर्फ अपलोड कर रहे हो. जैसे गूगल ड्राइव लो, गूगल ड्राइव में यू आर नॉट प्रोसेसिंग एनीथिंग. Whatever documents, whatever PDF you have uploaded, it is just there. Okay, there is no action which is going to happen on those pictures and on those documents. So in that situation, we will be using the object storage related. Just a minute, huh? What happened to this? Students, 1 minute. It is, my machine is going to restart. I just got some, there is some security issue which is happening. Okay, so this is the storage. So again, ऑब्जेक्ट इज वेरी जनरल पर्पस. अगर मीटिंग रीस्टार्ट होती हो रही है ना, तो आप रुकना, इफ इन केस माय मशीन इज रीस्टार्टिंग. So this is very general purpose. Then block and file, these two things are very specific. Okay, I'll give you one example that in which situation these two things are used. And ये सबको connect Okay. So by the time my machine starts, I'll take the lecture through phone. So so whatever the picture I was showing you, the processor part and the storage part. Okay. So in दोनों को connect करने के लिए you have network. Now what do you mean by network? So network here basically takes care of the traffic. Okay. Say for example, in yesterday's experiment हमने सिर्फ server को up किया था, but we did not connect that server with any other machine. Okay, or we did not connect that server with any other virtual machine or any other instance. So it was a single instance and सिर्फ उसी machine पे काम हो रहा था. But imagine अगर आप कोई application बना रहे हो, say for example for any OTT platform, Netflix के लिए कुछ करने वाले हो या फिर Prime के लिए कुछ करने वाले हो. Now imagine there are so many users, okay, which are going to use your server. Okay, तो आपका जो platform है, for example Netflix पे at a single time, at the same time, there are so many people or there are so many viewers who are watching some multiple shows. कोई XYZ देख रहा होगा, कोई ABCD देख रहा होगा, कोई PQR देख रहा होगा. So you have multiple shows and anybody can choose to watch anything, right? So what is happening in that situation? जो traffic उस website की है, okay, it is obviously going to be very high depending on say traffic as compared to any other normal website. ओके, सो जो नेटवर्क आपको प्रोवाइड किया जाता है और अगर
My other voice is like,
No, ma'am, your voice is lagging. The audio is not clear.
using within is it clear?
oh no, ma'am, it's
Not
still
yet,
like,
ma'am.
Wait, just give me just give it slide and everything. Am I audible now? Am I audible clearly or still?
Yes, ma'am. It was lagging, but now, yeah, perhaps
Yeah,
ma'am, ma'am lagging,
yeah.
ma'am still. Ma'am lagging. Can't hear you clearly.
Okay. Okay, so I was explaining you the processors, the storage, and the network. Okay, so processors are, again, there are three types of options which are available on any cloud platform. You have a compute option, you have GPU, and you have HPC. Okay, similarly for storage, the way you want to store your data. Okay, depending on that, you again there are three options which are available. Um, 1 minute. So you have object wise storage, you have block wise storage, and you have file wise storage. Okay. Now again, in this, object is general purpose, block storage is your this specific, and even file system is a specific option. Okay. So now yesterday, just a moment, my machine is still lagging. So yesterday when we created the instance, we only went ahead with the default options. Okay, तो हमने actually क्या choose किया है कल, हमने एक simple compute option choose किया. Okay, and even we were not worried about what exactly the storage is being given to us, right? So there we have taken the object option, because that is the one which is provided by default. Okay, so now what happens in network, so network exactly क्या करता है, so network is something similar to your pipe. ओके, सो अगर सपोज मैंने कम डायमीटर का या कम सर्कमफेरेंस का ये लिया है, कम कम कैपेसिटी वाला, सो ऑब्वियसली द डेटा विच इज कमिंग इन एंड विच इज गोइंग आउट is small, right? And suppose I imagine a bigger like a sewage system का pipeline है या something where the diameter is very huge, right? So जितना input आएगा, so now this means it is capable enough to take the input which is uh, which is of higher capacity, right? So that is what is the difference, and that is what is the what exactly happens when we choose the network, right? And here also, what type of application you are going to set up, depending on that you will have to choose the network option, right? So network option may, again, you have multiple choices which are present on your cloud platform. So this is what exactly happens. So this is what exactly happens when we talk about, or when we discuss about the uh, infrastructure as a service. Now that was all about the infrastructure part, right? Now what do you mean by as a service? Okay. So now, as I told you, that we are going to break the word into two parts. We are going to see what do you mean by infrastructure and what do you mean by service. So that is what we were discussing. I hope I was audible properly, because I explained. I was not sure whether you people were
Yes,
able
ma'am, you are
to
audible.
hear me. Ah, okay, thank you. Okay, so now we talked about, now we okay. So when we talk about as a service or the option of as a service, then in that case we have when we discussed in the first unit also, ठीक है, वहां पर हमने देखा कि we have one. There are so many issues which are happening today. I don't know why. I want to write, but I am not able to write it down properly. I don't know which option to use. I'm so sorry. This was working fine till now. Suddenly, पता नहीं इसको दिख रहा है. Why is it taking the eraser option again? I hope now this works. I'm able to write at least on this. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So we talked about infrastructure, like from IaaS. हमने I के बारे में discuss किया. So I is basically processor plus storage plus network. Okay, so these are the things which are provided to you depending on the choices and depending on what application you have to use. Processor की तीन चीजें हैं. आपका है compute, which is your simple CPU. Then you have GPUs, which are available, and then you also have HPC. In storage also you have three options, which is object, then block, and file. Okay, and network mein again you will be having multiple choices depending on how much traffic you are going to like see on your using your application, right? So out of this, compute uh, compute is your very general purpose, object is very general purpose, and ये जो है GPU, HPC, block and file, these are very specific. ठीक है. Now ये तो हो गया infrastructure का part. This was all about the infrastructure part, right? Now comes into picture the as a service part. So what do you mean by AAS, as a service? Now when you talk about as a service, or when we are using anything as a service, then inside that you will have the shared part. Okay, shared है because you are using that component. It is, you are not owing that, आप उसको खरीद नहीं रहे हो, you are paying for the resources what you are using. So it is going to be a shared component, it will be a shared commodity. Okay, then the payment will be hourly or the payment will be monthly. ओके, अगर आप रेंट पे भी अगर आप घर लेते हो तो आपको यूज करो, आपने वो खरीदा नहीं है, कभी ना कभी आपको छोड़ के जाओगे, ठीक है, तो आपका हो सकता है रेंट आर बेसिस पे, अगर सपोज से फॉर एग्जांपल कोई मोटेल है, ओके, या फिर कोई ऐसा platform perspective, no contracts as you are you are using that community, you are using that community because आपने उसका पैसा दिया, आपने contract sign किया, ठीक है, इतना something के अगर ऐसे करोगे तो कैसे होगा, देखना है. Generally services made for paid service होती है, उसमें contract नहीं है, हम platform को take करते हैं से. There is no communication which is happening. It is that the
Voice is clear.
Voice is so very.
very I'm very sorry that some issue with my system maybe. Is it okay now? बिल्कुल आवाज नहीं आ रही. Yes. Please reply.
No, not that clearly.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, not clear, ma'am.
See, now I think I'm helped because there is some issue with my network. Something होगा तो नहीं है, but I don't know this is happening. The idea of recording this lecture, you just go to the next page, drop clear your concept. Okay, because I think recording will proper identity has to make the system sound. Okay, so just bear with me for today. I'm really sorry. I don't know what is the issue.
Now it's okay, ma'am.
Okay, चलो ठीक है, thank you. Because already only 15 minutes are left. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा ही portion बचा है, उतना complete करके we will do. Okay, and then it is the next concept or the next part is self-service. Self-service मतलब मैं अपना setup करूँगी, right? So I will put my own debit card details. It is not something which somebody is going to come and provide me. Right, अगर suppose मुझे depending on my application I will have to choose whatever infrastructure or whatever components I require, so that is the self service part. So this is, I mean, जब ये चीजें present होती है, so these are basically this is the concept behind as a service. Okay, so you do not owe anything, you do not buy anything, you share it. Okay, you are paying, or you pay the bill as per your use, so that is pay as you go. Okay, so this is what you have to remember. This is very important in cloud. Okay, so when we connect this, so we are using some infrastructure which is, so we are using infrastructure which is shared. We are using the infrastructure for which we are paying on hourly or monthly basis. We are using some infrastructure जहाँ पे कोई contract as such हमसे sign नहीं करवाया, or there is no legal documentation which is present. And we are using some infrastructure jahan pe we are going to set up everything. Okay, because we know as a programmer or as a developer that what are the requirements for my own application, right? तो ये सारी चीजें आपकी सेल्फ सर्विस रहेगी. सिमिलरली जब हम लोग कोई दूसरा सर्विस देखेंगे, सपोज वी आर गोइंग टू यूज प्लेटफॉर्म एज अ सर्विस, और सपोज वी आर गोइंग टू यूज डेटाबेस एज अ सर्विस, तो वहां पर भी ये सारी चीजें रिपीट होने वाली है. ओके, बिकॉज what is going to change, the first alphabet is going to change, and depending on the first alphabet the components or the utilities which are provided by the cloud platform, those utilities are going to change depending on the first alphabet what you are using. अगर first alphabet है platform, ठीक है, तो आप क्या utility use कर रहे हो, platform use कर रहे हो, ठीक है. So the things will change as per the platform. अगर आप database as a service use करने वाले हैं, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर आपका use हो जाएगा database. Okay, but ये जो part है ना as a service वाला, that is going to be similar for any kind of services you use. अगर मैं database as a service use कर रही हूँ तो वो database भी shared रहेगा, वो database के लिए भी मैं hourly या monthly pay करूंगी, वो database के लिए भी मुझे कोई contract sign नहीं करना है. That database also I will choose on my own. मेरे को MongoDB चाहिए या मेरे को RDS चाहिए, मेरे को SQL चाहिए, क्या चाहिए. Okay, so that is also again will be self-service utility, right? So this was all about infrastructure as a service, right? So there was one small PPT also what I had created, but then आज बहुत ही glitch हो गया lecture में, and only 10 minutes are left. I'll just quickly, we'll quickly run through that particular PPT. It is again based on the same concept जो मैंने अभी आपको revise करा है. Okay, so this is how we will be doing the future practicals also. हम लोग practical perform करेंगे, and then we will have one lecture on the concepts of it. Because AWS के practicals hopefully काफी जल्दी execute हो जाएंगे, because we don't have to take much of the efforts. सब कुछ ready made रहता है, आपको सिर्फ click करना है, and the things are set up for us, right? So the things will get covered quickly. So that is why, and we have to complete 10 practicals, ठीक है? So we have already done. Fourth pipeline में है जो मैं complete कर रही हूँ. Fourth I will not ask you, I mean the one what I told you bare metal वाला, आई गिव यू द वीडियो, अगर आपसे बन पाता है तो आप करना, ठीक है। आई एक्सप्लेन यू दैट, ऑब्वियसली जिसको इंटरेस्ट है वो करके देखो, बट दैट माइट यू नो लैग योर मशीन, राइट। सो या I'll quickly take you to this through this PPT. मेरे को बस बताओ कि स्लाइड शो विजिबल है क्या?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ चलो ठीक है। Yeah. So this PPT I have made based on EC2 only. So what is infrastructure as a service? This is what we saw just now. Okay. So these are the highlights जो अभी हमने डिस्कस किए। So there is no upfront commitment. That is what I said. मतलब कोई contract नहीं है, ठीक है। There is no contract, only credit card. आपको सिर्फ details देनी है. There is no contract or legal documentation which is happening. No maintenance, measured service. No maintenance as in हमें कोई टेंशन के लेने की जरूरत नहीं है। कल मैंने विंडोज सर्वर सेटअप किया, आज अगर मैं उसको ओपन करूंगी, अगर कोई अपडेशन है तो मेरे को क्लाउड प्लेटफॉर्म खुद आके बताएगा कि दिस इज अ न्यू वर्जन विच इज अवेलेबल, डू यू वांट टू update your system. Okay, so we don't have to maintain anything, everything will be taken care by cloud. So all these things. Then this we saw. Yeah. So I hope you people ना जब आप AW वो membership करोगे तो वहाँ पे ये सारी चीजें observe करना. So AMI is what I explained you. AMI मतलब VM, virtual machine. जो हम लोग term use करते हैं virtual machine, वो AWS के टर्मिनोलॉजी में उसको AMI कहा जाता है. इंस्टेंस मतलब उसका जो हम लोग रेप्लिका बना रहे हैं, ओके, दैट इज द इंस्टेंस. देन रीजन्स एंड जोन्स. सो रीजन्स एंड जोन्स क्या होता है ना, ये अपने हाथ में नहीं होता. दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच इज क्रिएटेड ऑटोमेटिकली और व्हिच इज गिवन टू अस ऑटोमेटिकली, ठीक है. तो अगर सपोज मैं आज, जैसे कि मैंने कल लॉग इन किया था AWS पे, सो आई वाज लॉग्ड इन द मुंबई रीजन, ओके. तो वो मेरे हाथ में नहीं है, वो मैंने नहीं चूज किया कि मुझे मुंबई में लॉग इन करना है. वो उस टाइम पे वो वाला डेटा सेंटर या फिर द थिंग विच इज यू नो नियरर टू यू, वो चीज जनरली चूज करी जाती है. ओके, सो द रीजन एंड जोन. सो देयर आर टू थिंग्स. रीजन मतलब से फॉर एग्जांपल रीजन विल बी लंदन और रीजन विल बी इंडिया, से फॉर एग्जांपल, ठीक है. जोन क्या रहेगा? जोन मतलब मुंबई एक जोन रहेगा, या फिर हो सकता है राजस्थान एक जोन हो गया. Okay, so these are the data centers which are present. So this is something which is done automatically for you. So these are the concepts which are present in EC2. तो storage हमने देख लिया, network and security I explained you. Monitoring as in आपका जो traffic monitoring हो रहा है, that is also happening automatically. Auto scaling. Scaling मतलब जो मैं आपको example दिया था कि अगर suppose मैं कोई OTT platform के लिए मैंने कोई सर्वर अप किया है, एंड सपोज टुडे देयर इज सम मूवी व्हिच इज गोइंग टू रिलीज एंड काफी उसमें लोग देखना चाहते हैं, अगर हैरी पॉटर का यू नो देयर इज सम मूवी व्हिच इज कमिंग, राइट. तो ट्रैफिक हो सकता है कि उस दिन में बहुत ज्यादा हो, बिकॉज दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच इज कमिंग अप व्हिच वाज पीपल वर वेटिंग फॉर इट. सो वो जो है, राइट, तो दैट पर्टिकुलर कॉन्सेप्ट इज कॉल्ड अ स्केलिंग. ट्रैफिक को कैसे मैनेज करना है, इनफ्लो एंड आउटफ्लो को कैसे मैनेज करना है, एक्सपांड एंड श्रिंकिंग. सो एक्सपांशन एंड श्रिंकिंग, दीज टू कॉन्सेप्ट्स कम अंडर स्केलिंग पार्ट. लोड बैलेंसर, अगर बहुत ट्रैफिक होगी, मेरा सिंगल सर्वर नहीं काम कर पा रहा है, ठीक है, सो ये क्या करेगा? सो इट विल शेयर द लोड. ओके, कुछ डेटा ये वाला डेटा सेंटर हैंडल कर रहा है, कुछ डेटा वो वाला डेटा सेंटर हैंडल कर रहा है, something like that. So that is called as load balancer. So all these things are taken care by AWS automatically. Okay, so this we saw. तो AMI और इंस्टेंस क्या होता है वो भी यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है. So this is done. Yeah. So हमने ये देखा था स्टोरेज में. So स्टोरेज में again there are 3 options. Okay. So we will see it. I think हम लोग S3 के ऊपर एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करेंगे तो आपको समझ में आएगा. So जैसे स्टोरेज में मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन किया कि again you have object blocks and files, right? So on AWS also you have multiple options, right? EBS use करना है, S3. So generally S3 is what is quite popular and easy to use, right? So this is what is provided by AWS to us. एंड EC2 कौन सा यूज करता है ना, वो हमें नहीं पता. जैसे कल अभी हमने जब VM लॉन्च किया था तो वी डोंट नो दैट EBS आया है, S3 आया है कि इंस्टेंट स्टोरेज आया है, बिकॉज वी डिड नॉट सिलेक्ट इट. दैट इज गिवन टू अस ऑटोमेटिकली. ओके, so networking and security. So these are the 2 things which are present there. Again, since we have not selected anything, so by default something will be given by AWS to us. Okay, so this I explained you. या ठीक है, ये अगेन दिस इज अ थेरोटिकल कॉन्सेप्ट, दिस यू पीपल, जब मैं इसका कुछ नोट्स प्रोवाइड करूंगी ना तब आप देख लेना। तो यहाँ पर वही स्टेप्स बताए हैं जो हमने कल किया था, राइट? तो साइन इन करो, लॉन्च करो, देन कनेक्ट करो एंड टर्मिनेट करो। सो इफ इट इज लिनक्स वी यूज SSH, सपोज इट इज विंडोज वी यूज RDP, एंड व्हेन अवर वर्क इज डन वी टर्मिनेट इट। सो एवरी स्टेप हैज बीन मेंशन्ड हियर कि लॉन्च कैसे करना है, कनेक्ट कैसे करना है, ठीक है? सो सिमिलर स्क्रीनशॉट्स जो कल हमने PDF में देखे थे, so this PPT again is having the same thing. So this is what we have actually done yesterday. So this we can skip. Yeah. So this is what I was explaining you. High CPUs रहता है, standard instances रहते हैं. Okay, so this also we saw yesterday. So there were multiple options which were given before we launch the instance, and depending on that the pricing will change. तो free tier रहेगा तो free है, और अगर आप कुछ अलग combination लेने वाले हो then you have to pay depending on what thing you are using. Okay, so those things are also mentioned, okay, when you are choosing the specific instance. Yeah. Yeah, so these are some applications which are, you know, similar to IaaS, जैसे Skype, BitTorrent हो गया, Salesforce.com हो गया. So these are the applications which use infrastructure as a service from the cloud platform. जैसे Salesforce.com हो गया, उन्होंने जो cloud use किया है, so they have used the cloud platform only for as a infrastructure as a service, and whatever rest has happened from DRM. These are few examples of the applications which are actually using infrastructure as a service. Okay, so what I'll be doing is I'll be converting this PPT into notes if you want, and you know I'll provide that to you जब आपको वो practical submission करना रहेगा, ठीक है? Okay, so please start writing your roll number and name for the attendance purpose. I hope the concepts were clear today. I hope you all understood what exactly infrastructure is. Okay, and अगर आपको वाइवा में questions किए जाएंगे ना, तो all these terms you have to use, like AMI है क्या है, instance क्या है. So that shows that yes, you people paid attention and you are aware of the concepts and techniques, okay, of the subject. तो जब आप वाइवा के लिए आंसर देते हो, उसे randomly कुछ भी नहीं बोलना है कि एक virtualization होता है, but exactly you just have to use the technical terms. ठीक है? Okay, just write down your roll number and name and you can start exiting the meet. Thank you so much for attending. And please perform the practicals. Do not attend the lectures just for attendance sake. 5 marks का attendance है सर, ठीक है? पढ़ने के लिए, सीखने के लिए आप lectures attend करो. उस टाइम पास करने के लिए मत करो. That is really bad habit. Because I told you the subject is really interesting.
No, what about that connection logon problem, ma'am?
दिखाओ ना, शेयर करो, show me.
Ma'am, then I have to create a new machine, ma'am. It
वो
will take.
टर्मिनेट कर दिया क्या पुराना वाला?
हाँ मैम, कल ट्राई कर रहा था रात को मैम, तो मैं टर्मिनेट करना पड़ा मैम. आप बोले थे कि
अरे
टर्मिनेट
स्टॉप किया तो भी चलेगा, फ्री टियर
Okay,
वाला ही
ma'am.
था ना वो. दैट तो आई टेल जस्ट टू बी यू नो कीप यू अवेयर. अगर
Okay,
तुम
ma'am,
उसको
okay, ma'am.
टर्मिनेट, अच्छा उसको रन करके नहीं रखना, उसको स्टॉप करना है, ठीक है? स्टॉप
Okay, ma'am,
इज
okay.
लाइक जस्ट स्टॉप एंड टर्मिनेट, मतलब पूरा डिलीट करना. स्टॉप वाले को आप वापस स्टार्ट कर सकते हो. तो इफ यू डू इट टुडे ना, वो करो और मेरे को स्क्रीनशॉट भेजो व्हाट्सएप पे, आई सी.
Okay, ma'am, okay, ma'am.
या आई विल हेल्प.
Yeah, ma'am. If I want to use AWS in my projects,
हाँ,
then how I can use this storage option? Like, I have to select the default like object one or block or file.
नहीं वो हम लोग जब स्टोरेज एज अ सर्विस करेंगे ना तब मैं तुमको दिखाऊंगी. डोंट वरी. Are you using your like you're doing any project right now?
No,
अभी
ma'am.
तुमको चाहिए क्या?
I'm planning to do it because we
I'll
have.
let you know. And listen, see one more thing. As I told you, this is a very popular topic and technology which is going on now. So you don't have to depend, like you should have a habit of reading. तो अगर आपको देखना है कि storage as a service कैसे करते हैं, just Google it. There are so many lectures and blogs. Okay, so you can self study the concepts. So don't worry, ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं जब पढ़ाऊंगी तो you have to depend on me.
Yeah.
आप स्टडी करो, अगर आपको कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आती है, you can very well connect with me.
Okay, ma'am. No issue.
ठीक है, yeah. Parth, the lecture is over. Have you written down your roll number?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pujan Shah, roll number 61.